Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. First of all, I want to say that I'm driving right now, but it's very safe. I'm not holding a phone. Just act as if you're driving in the car with me on the passenger side, if you will. Okay. I wanted to do this video forward face, or what I call forward face, and my forward face videos are what it sounds like. That would be my face in the forward. That means you would be able to see me as I'm talking to you, or creating the video. But that's just not going to happen for this one, so forgive me for that. But I do make a conscious effort to make a fair amount of forward face videos because I enjoy making them. It's just sometimes I need to pump out a video on a topic that I really want to get out there, and I know how much longer it would take for me to be able to get that video to you if it would have to wait for me to do the forward face and setting up the lights, camera actions, and all of that. Because even when I do those videos, it's more than what meets the eye. I have all this lighting around me, and it's really a production, guys. All right, a lot more effort will go into that. All right. But sometimes it's just so important for me to get that message out. All right. So here we go with the audio. And as you can see, the name of this audio is Codependency. Now, I've created a playlist on Codependency, so you can go in there and review those videos to hear additional information. Okay. But, I have studied this thing, and I have watched a lot of information on it. I have come into contact with a lot of codependents and people trying to recover from this thing. And I myself am recovering from codependency. So, it puts me at a great advantage in being able to talk about this thing because I understand it from a wonderful aspect. I mean, it's one thing to, be book smart about something. But it's another thing to actually have experienced this firsthand on top of that. And it gives you a deeper connection and a deeper understanding with the topic, all right? Because I'm not just having some client that I'm observing from a distance or whatever you want to call it, some experiment, whatever you want to call it. No, I've actually been there firsthand. I know what it feels like, and I am recovered from it. So that's the first thing that I would like to say about it is it's not a death sentence. Codependency is not a death sentence. I don't care how old you are, you could be 80 years old stumbling across my video right now and you've struggled with this for all of your life. It's not a death sentence. It just means that you need some reprogramming in the way that you perceive relationships, how you encounter them, how you behave within them, your boundaries around them. It means that you need to be mindful about those things, all right? So what really encouraged me to make this video, because like I said, it's not my first video talking about this codependency, all right? What really encouraged this video is I've listened to video after video, topic after topic, people explaining this, and I feel like a lot of people get it wrong. And if we're really going to correct this thing, I think that it's important to really, really understand it. First of all, how are you going to correct something if you're really not understanding it? So I keep hearing over and over, codependents need to be needed, need to be needed, need to be needed. And quite frankly, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. I really don't agree with that. Because if we needed to be needed, guys, we wouldn't have the resentment that comes with being the sacrificial lamb. We wouldn't have that bitterness about having to feel like, or basically realizing how we've overextended ourselves, gone above and beyond, constantly giving more. then we receive, not having that reciprocation. We wouldn't have that bitterness because we love to be needed, right? So I really disagree with that. If anything, it's more of a need to be wanted. Is more of a need to be wanted. And, I don't know how many people out there are brave enough or even, have the awareness to know that they're a codependent, or perhaps they could say, you know what, I'm a recovering codependent. But if you can co-sign that notion right there, go ahead down in the comments and let me know which one it is. Did you have a need to be needed, or was it really a need to be wanted? A need to be wanted and accepted, basically. Okay, so really, at the nucleus of codependency is a fear of rejection and abandonment. So I feel like if we can trace back the roots of those fears and those fears of abandonment and rejection, it'd probably make it come full circle for a lot of codependents. Like, you know what? It started here. But even if you feel like, you know what, I don't know where it traces back to, Lakia, but if you just take some deep thought about it and tap into your spirit and discernment and be like, wow, like, yeah, I have issues with abandonment and rejection. It's not that I needed to be needed. I don't need to be anyone's superhero per se. I just wanted to be wanted by them. I wanted to be accepted. I wanted to belong. Okay? And when I go back some more layers, because we can just look at this as an onion here. When I go back further layers, I seen where my own codependency had begun and how I had been ripe to fall prey to this. Like, things happened in my life that increased the probability of me, falling into codependency, if you will. And in my situation may mirror a lot of codependence situations. So if you have some of these experiences in common, this may have severely been a part of the blueprint that made you ripe or made you more susceptible, if you will, to becoming codependent in your mindset and in your behaviors. All right. So I know that I lost my mother at the age of 7. She passed away. And I felt severely abandoned at that point. I felt abandoned. Now, was she trying to abandon me? No. That's why I have to say I felt. It's still the way that it made me feel. And here I am 7 years old without the emotional maturity to be able to really break that down psychologically. All right. So if you lost a parent or, you experienced a situation young in life to where it made you feel abandoned and even or rejected. Okay. That could have been making you very ripe to trying to then reconcile the situation. Okay, I feel abandoned and rejected. How can I make this feel better? How can I correct this? How can I get away from that? Okay, so my mother passed away when I was 7, and it triggered those feelings in me of feeling abandoned. Okay, and then my caretaker that I was with after she passed away made me have to fill a void. Like, oh, your mother isn't here and you have 2 younger siblings. Someone's got to pick up the slack. Someone's got to be accountable for that. And it's not going to just be me, which was the adult. I, as the oldest sibling, was made accountable at that point. I didn't ask for that position. I was actually placed into that position. And me being a child, I I didn't pick my caretaker, and I wasn't the boss of that household because I was a child to do what I was told. And then I was told what to do. So throughout my whole childhood, I was accountable. And the older I get, the more responsibilities that got put on my plate. Now, it taught me responsibilities, okay? But this is a double-edged sword here for our codependents. Because now I didn't get to just be a kid here. All right? I didn't just get to be a kid. All these responsibilities were placed on me year after year after year. And then what happens? It becomes normal. That becomes my norm. So whether I liked it or not, I was used to it and I was trained. Okay, so that quote unquote need to be needed. No, we were trained to fill needs. We were trained to fill other people's needs, but we did it so many times that it got engraved into our mindsets. It became our norm. We didn't know how else to be, because it's all that we were used to. So I did this all my childhood, and then I was that person doing it in my adulthood. I would attract people with a lot of needs, guys that needed to be dusted off. But because I was so used to being the sacrificial lamb, I was so used to lopsided relationships, I was so used to just sucking it up, working tirelessly, effortlessly, thanklessly, that I accepted these things in my adult relationship for quite some time until I had my awakening, of course, and worked on healing this. Now I'm using myself as an example because, I've created this whole platform and it's something that I want to contribute to society because I know the devastations of not having emotional maturity. I know the devastations of only being book smart, but being naive in life because I got straight A's. And I'm like, how can I get straight A's at school and I'm flunking in my personal life? I'm flunking in my personal relationships, getting walked all over. I'm not getting what I wanted, or these people aren't respecting me. Why is it so hard? What is wrong with me? I had to ask that question. Why I got fed up, I thank God for having that moment of saying, okay, something isn't right. Of really realizing something isn't right. Really realizing it. Because something isn't fair and something isn't right are two different statements, so to speak. Because I knew that it wasn't fair as a child, that I was the only one who had to do chores until I went to college. I knew that wasn't fair. But I was always taught life isn't fair. So does it make it wrong when it's not fair? I had all of these catch-22s, all of these, you can think of it this way, you can think of it that way. So, but when I really understood, something isn't right here. And I really had to try to understand more because I was like, well, I never wanted to have to do that stuff. But I felt like I couldn't say no as a child. I would get my butt whooped. I would, get verbal abuse, or I would be shunned. I would be on punishment. Something very unlikable would happen to me. But then those toxic patterns were created. It's like, okay, how do I create boundaries now? How do I enforce it? How do I step away from this way of life? How can I start anew now? And that's what I had to do, guys. And it took me having to realize some things. It took me, of course, having to increase my self-love, my self-respect, my self-dignity. I became my own best friend. I became my own best friend. And I was going to take control of it because, you know what? Other people were controlling me at that point. If I had such a need to be accepted by them. Once I corrected that need, everything else kind of fell in line. I learned how to enjoy my own company. I swear I did. I became my own best friend. Then at that point, and to this day, I'm comfortable with any living soul walking in or out of my life because my mentality has changed. I don't need to be accepted by anyone. All I need is my self-love. All I need is my self-respect and my self-esteem. All I need is to feel at peace inside of me and take control of my own happiness. All I need is to honor myself. Those became my needs. Those became my needs. You know, I had to make my peace with my mother's passing away. I even had to make my peace with my other caregiver doing the best that he could. He did the best that he could. Sure, it made me a codependent, but that was his best. I mean, there's no hate, meaning there's no hate in my heart. There's no resentment. I mean, life is called a journey for a reason. But I really, I just wanted to make this video to connect with the codependents out there because I do understand that. And I will always and forever be that recovering codependent. Do I have codependent ways about me today? Nope, I don't. I've corrected it, guys. And you can correct it as well. It's reprogramming the mind. And once you do that, your behaviors tend to fall in line with that. Because once you reprogram your mind, you're reprogramming your subconscious. Okay, and that's really what's controlling your behaviors. All right, not the shallow things in the forefront of our conscious, but our subconscious. Okay? But it's not our need to be needed. It's not our need to be needed. It's our need to be wanted and accepted. And then it's typically being trained that, hey, I'll accept you if you benefit me. And then it's us taking that deal. Okay, I'll benefit you to be accepted. And this is usually what's happening at that point. But what happens when you say, I'm not anyone's doormat? Or, okay, this is what you want, but guess what? These are my wants as well. This is going to be mutually exclusive. This isn't going to be lopsided. This isn't going to be a one-way street. I'm not just a giver. Because if you're only a giver, guess what? The only kind of people you need in your life are takers. You see how that matches? When you make yourself only the giver, you are doomed and destined to constantly attract just takers in life. So, to all my codependents out there, we really have to change and reprogram. I do offer coaching to talk about this on a more personal level for your specific scenarios, your specific experiences. We find out your specific areas where you fall short the most, the ones where you really need to work on the most. We could start there. Okay? Now, I have made a video for those of you codependents that naturally will attract narcissists. We know they are massive takers. And in that video, I do talk about how the narcissist is a codependent as well. All right? But it plays out different in their behaviors. Okay? But it's time you know, to get educated about this so that you can really start connecting the dots, so that you can understand this. And then that can help set you free once you put some actions, all right? Please feel free to like the video, of course. It helps YouTube's algorithm push this information out. Subscribe, hit the bell. You'll be notified. I upload videos on a regular basis. In the description is all of the resources and everything that I offer. You can go to my website, lakiacrawford.com. I have a Patreon monthly membership. Wonderful ways to support my cause and me putting out information. I have a support group on Facebook. I've written 4 wonderful books to help you with your emotional maturities. All right, so look into all of that, guys. All right, thank you for your support on this channel. And, you know, never give up on yourself. Never give up on yourself. Keep doing the work. We're going to keep talking about this thing called codependency because it needs attention. It needs a platform. All right, guys, I hope that this has been helpful, that it has enlightened someone, has helped someone understand themselves better. And that's what I say. I draw for myself to pull other people closer to themselves. All right. All right, guys. Until next time, please take care.